Hey guys, this is Jennifer from The Shooter's Mindset. We are live with episode 344. I've got my co host here, Greg Cannon. How's it going?
Hey everyone.
And our guest of the hour, a repeat guest. We brought him back like a bad case of shingles or something.
Great. All
So,
right. Well, show's off to a great start.
Chris Andrews is here with us, who is the match director of Mammoth Sniper Challenge and also owner of Best Targets. So we're going to talk with him about a bunch of those topics. So how's it going, Chris?
It's going great. Busy, but going good.
I bet so. Well, for those that maybe are unfamiliar and didn't see the first show and maybe aren't involved with Mammoth, tell everybody kind of like how you got into the shooting industry in general.
Okay. My career is in motorsports. I'm an engineer, and are you right there?
There's a mosquito.
Yeah, so I'm an engineer in professional motorsports, and I've been doing that for 25 years. And about 7 or 8 years ago, decided that I needed a hobby outside of work, and got into shooting, which I did some in high school, hunting and stuff growing up in Indiana, and then got away from it. I worked on a race team with Scott Whitehead, and he and I started to do some pistol shooting together. We got into long range rifle shooting. We took some classes, we bought some stuff. And in 2014, we thought, hey, let's do the Mammoth Sniper Challenge. We read about it online and it sounded like fun. And we went to Rock Castle, did that in 2014, and we were completely lost in the tall weeds. Had never done anything like that before, and we were in way over our head. But there were a couple of guys from the AMU on team then. So we got to see some really good shooters compete. And that's kind of what started it for Scott and I together. And we went back every year. 2018 was our last year we shot together. And then when Grunt Style bought the match at the end of 2018, they started making plans for 2019. I started to bug Tim Jensen at Grunt Style about, where's the match going to be next year? Is it going to be on the same weekend? Is it going to be very different? And I was like kind of a competitor asking questions, wanting to get a leg up on preparation for 2019. And a couple of months into 2018, I was talking to Tim about it, and he said, would you like to be the match director? I was like, carrying all that stuff for 11 miles a day for 3 days and being out in the cold and the rain is getting kind of old. And I talked to Scott about it, and it was a really good opportunity for me professionally, and it was a good opportunity, I think, for Mammoth and for Tim. And that was kind of when we worked with Joe Cayley to get the match moved to Fort Gordon in Augusta, Georgia there. And now I'm working on my 4th event as match director.
I love Joe.
Yeah.
He's
Super
hilarious.
great guy.
His humor is just great. I love him a lot. He's
So yeah, that's how I got here. And here we are.
And here you are, continuing to do it. You decided it was more fun to be on the other side and be able to laugh at everybody doing it instead of doing it.
It's actually just a different kind of fun. Scott Whitehead and I shot Joe Burdick's Vortex Extreme Sniper Challenge earlier this year. So I still enjoy the shooting part. I still enjoy the teamwork part. Scott's busy with work. I'm busy with work. We try to fit a couple of matches in a year together. But because I had competed in Mammoth for 5 or 6 consecutive years, I feel like that helps me as the match director. But now that I have been match director, I feel like it has helped me in competition as well too, kind of working through stages and thinking that way. So it's a different kind of fun. It's the same amount of fun, it's just different.
Imagine having directed a match, you probably have a different mind about how to attack stages because you're like, oh, that's what they're doing.
Yes, yeah. And I have a pretty bad obsessive compulsive disorder, and being an engineer and working in racing, I'm kind of a perfectionist. But I'd shot lots of matches before in the scene, things get behind schedule, or seeing targets fail, or seeing, stages where you can't find any targets at all and it's just aggravating. And so I try, as I lay out Mammoth, as I design the ruck routes and the schedules for the days and the stages, I try to think about, as a competitor, what would I like the match to be like? What would I find challenging? I think about struggles that Scott and I have had in the past at different stages and try to incorporate some of those. Try to incorporate every year a stage or two that's similar than the year before, just so that people have an opportunity to learn from what they did year before and get better. And whoa, what was that? We had a new one in the house here.
I was like, it wasn't in my house.
Say, I was on mute. It wasn't me.
You guys are looking like, is that barking here? No, must be a Chrissy. But yeah, I try to incorporate things from other matches. I've shot a lot of events, and there's some matches that I still remember, like really, really good stages about, or really good elements of stages about. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it.
You got any lives, Greg, or are you not done sharing?
I am not done sharing, but Scott White said,
go ahead.
Hey Chris, hope you're hey Chris, your brass is clean and dry.
Oh, great. Excellent.
Prentice Wink wants to know if there's an ATV division for the match.
If there's a what?
An ATV division.
It is not an ATV division. In fact, this year, for the first time, there's not even a regular division.
Really?
Yeah, the entire match is Tough Man this year. And when we had the first match at Fort Gordon in 2019, we had open and regular and Tough Man, just like the event had in the past. And we only had 3 or 4 open competitors. So the following year, we eliminated that. And for the last 2 years, we've had 18 to 20 regular teams and 80-ish Tough Man teams. And we've had a waiting list every year of 15 to 20 teams, and they're usually all Tough Man. So this year we decided we're going to do without the regular as well. And a lot of past regular competitors have signed up this year as well. So
nice.
Well, it really, you must be doing the right thing, because registration this year opened and was sold out in 49 minutes.
49 minutes, yeah, which even surprised Tim and I. Last year, the 2021 event sold out in 5.5 hours. And we thought that was pretty cool, that it has kind of that much of a following or that much demand. So certainly that kind of makes us feel good about it. And it's good for the sponsors and Fort Gordon. And it's kind of cool for the competitors, makes it a little bit more exclusive. So after the 5.5 hour sellout last year, we thought, oh, I wonder if it would sell out maybe like in 3 hours or 4 this year. And once we opened up the website at noon, yeah, it was amazing, the response. And there are some, just from looking at the entry list, and we have 20 teams on the wait list again already. There are some like really competitive teams, like recognizable names in the industry, that did not get registered on time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you have a long waiting list still?
Yeah, it's 20 teams deep already. Last year, we transferred 8 or 9 teams from the wait list. Some of those were like people that dropped because of COVID or COVID exposure and things like that. So I don't know that we'll have as many drops this year or transfer as many, but I know you could run a really competitive match with just the wait list at this point.
What do you think led the demand for it this year? Do you think it's just word getting out, or?
I think over the years the word gets out. I think people like the physical challenge, the mental challenge, and the shooting challenge together. I think the match has, it's an event that has 100 2-person teams a year, right? So there's 200 competitors, there's 30 or 40 staff members, and the event has a Facebook following. I think it's around like 10,000, right? So there's a lot of people interested in this relatively small event. So yeah, it's just, I think the social media following is good. I think it's a bucket list event for a lot of people. and the fact that it's limited to 100 teams, creates some demand.
So I got a couple live ones. As it moves, Jeff wants to know. I think his team is on the waiting list for the second year in a row, and he was wondering if there's a way to figure out where they're at on the waiting list.
He could send me a message. The email address, matchdirector@mammothsniperchallenge.com. I could let him know.
Awesome.
Jeff, I'm gonna buy you an alarm clock for next year, man.
But so you had a full 40 what?
2 years in a row? Gotta get fast on that button.
But say that was the first lesson I learned in precision rifle shooting is you got to be like on your A game to get into some of these matches because the demand's so high right now.
Yeah, it was like I said, that even surprised Tim and I that it filled that quickly. It surprised Jeff as well.
Surprised a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, I literally like sat down on my computer. I'm like, I thought this just opened up and they're already full. So that's awesome that you guys are drawing such demand. Scott said that the reason why it sold out so quick is because I heard that Eric Lundberg was ROing again.
Oh, yes. That's a draw.
They just like Eric ROing last year because I was his RO partner last year.
You were sleeping half the time.
I was not, only part
Could
of
have also been Steven. He could be a draw.
That's right. I just talked to Steven's dad the other day. He messaged
cool.
me about something. I was like, how's the kid?
Good. He's doing well. I hope we see him there again this year.
He was funny. Any other lives, Greg?
Andy wants to know if you guys are hitting the tank trails.
Well, we've not been on any tank trails for the last 3 years, but we had fewer drops last year than ever, and everyone's showing up more and more prepared. So it's certainly possible there could be a ruck or two on the tank trails.
Jen's face, though.
Make it harder.
There's actually probably going to be a lot of stuff different for competitors this year. I remember, when Scott and I did a couple at Rock Castle, you get kind of used to the shooting areas. You kind of know where the stages are going to be, and you kind of have a rough idea of the distances and things like that. And we've tried over the last 3 years at Fort Gordon to mix things up, but there have been only so many ranges available to us. There are more ranges available to us this year, more ruck routes available to us this year, and more stage layout opportunities available to us this year. So I think the fourth year there will look a lot different than what people are used to.
So what can competitors expect this year? Like round count, mileage? Can you turn the heat on so it won't be so cold?
Sure. Kind of based on feedback from the last few years and kind of historical Mammoth things, I'll tell you that we're going to step off a little bit earlier in the morning to get a little bit more distance in before sunrise. Expect a higher round count than years past because we all like shooting. Expect a little bit more difficult ruck routes and expect, well, I'll stop there. It will be bigger, badder, faster, stronger than ever before.
Lord.
Scott said, great. Change it up when I finally shoot.
There's and one of the things I enjoy about the match, there's a couple of staff members competing this year, which is, I think, really cool. Some of them think they might have some inside perspective on what to expect, but they don't. There are some past competitors now on the staff, right? So it's an interesting event in that, like, a lot of times, people compete in it. When they get to the point that they don't want to compete anymore, they still want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's also people that have been a part of it behind the scenes that have watched it for the last few years that have said, man, I really need to do that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Hugh Tanner says, don't stop, need info.
Don't stop. Need info. So
Matt wants to say, if you could give one piece of advice, what would it be?
One piece of advice. For me personally, something that's important to me competing in these kind of matches, at 50 years old and only doing it once a year or twice a year, the little bit that I get to do, and also watching competitors over the years, my number one piece of advice is pack light.
My one piece of advice is going to be pack the bulk for your rifle.
That too.
The shooting is important, the finding targets is important, the ranging targets is important, the strategizing stages to score points is important. But if you don't finish all of the rucks on time, it doesn't really matter how well you can do all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So for anybody that maybe doesn't know, like they've heard of Mammoth, but they don't really know, because I know the first year that I went and watched it, I didn't really understand the concept and how much. Kind of give an overview of, like what the ruck mileage was last year. You say maybe more this year, but like what the ruck mileage is per day, kind of an idea of what it's like.
Sure. The competitors, the teams will ruck, I'll say roughly 11 miles a day. It could be 9 point something or 11 point something, but it's going to be roughly 11 miles a day. The event will total just over 30 miles for 3 days. We step off in the morning at 6:45. Everyone will go a couple of miles to their first stage. You shoot your stage, pack your gear, ruck to the next stage, shoot your stage, pack your gear, move the next one. We'll shoot 4 stages on Friday, 4 stages on Saturday, and 3 on Sunday. And like I said, you'll total roughly 11 miles a day for the 3 days. And as the event goes on, as competitors do not complete the rucks in time, which is a 16-minute mile pace, competitor does not finish the first ruck, they basically have finalized their finishing position in the standings at that point. They've failed a ruck on the first day. Basically, everybody that fails a ruck on the first day gets scored as a group. Everyone continues to the second day. Teams that fail a ruck on the second day get scored as a group. Teams that fail a ruck on the third day get scored as a group. And then teams that complete all the rucks to the finish line get ranked by shooting score. So you have to finish all the rucks on time, and you have to shoot well to win. And because the ruck distance are kind of shuffled around, sometimes one squad might start the day with a 3-mile ruck, one might start with a 2.5. Later in the day, you might be doing a 1.5-mile ruck while another squad's doing a 2-mile ruck. We kind of break the scoring down by teams that failed in the first day, teams that failed in the second day, teams that failed in the third day. So your shooting score is still important within the day of failure bracket you're in, right? But obviously the goal is to make it to the end.
So how does the squatting work?
So squatting is pretty random. Every year we get a couple of squad requests of people that want to be with a certain someone or want to be with so-and-so. And so we try to honor those best we can. But it's pretty random. Kicked around the idea of making a squad this year of all the teams that have finished in the top 5 or 10 in years past. Make one squad of like contenders per se, teams that have finished well in the past, a super squad if you want. Sure. So we thought about that. Not sure if we're going to do that or not. It would be something new. It would ensure that all of those teams shoot in the same conditions, right? But every year there are contenders, teams that shoot well that we don't recognize or have never heard of, or they're there for the first time. So one of the things I always enjoyed about Mammoth when Scott and I started shooting, like I mentioned, the guys from the AMU were in our squad. John Paul from JP Enterprises was in our squad once, and shot in a squad with John Kuckler once. Like, we always met really competitive, really good shooters. And that's, I think, one of the cool things about the event is each squad will have some rookies. Each squad will probably have some active military in it. Each squad will have some like really competitive civilian shooters. And so all the stages are blind, but you're still going to spend 3 days with the people in your squad, and you're going to get to know them, and you're going to make friends by the end of the weekend. So So that's how squatting works. The answer is it's pretty random, and it's a wide mix of competitors in each squad.
I want nice people.
You want nice people?
Yeah. Because I don't want to be angry and hangry and have
Right.
not nice people around me.
Right. Well, there will be some hangriness that goes on, right? But there will be snacks as well. Pack snacks, you'll be fine.
And you got to carry the snacks.
I was going to say.
You just
So
have
when
to
you say there'll be snacks, it makes it sound like you're going to provide snacks.
No.
I
You're
have to
providing,
carry snacks.
you're providing, yeah, you have to carry your snacks. Exactly. All right.
Greg, you got a question?
Yeah, we had a live one. Someone asked, from your perspective, what's the best way to train for the physical side of Mammoth?
The best way to train for the physical side, when I did it, I just rucked, and Scott and I rucked as much as we could. It's we used to try to start about 6 months in advance and just do rucks with 20 or 30 pounds and add 5 pounds every few weeks and get up to the weight that you think you're going to be carrying. Different people train different ways. I know some people that run. I personally don't think running is the right preparation for the event, but just covering distance and carrying weight and knowing what your feet and legs are capable of. Shoe selection is like a hot item every year. People always talk about I use this, or I use that, or I got blisters when I wore those, or these socks help my feet, or I put this lotion on and I didn't get blisters. Getting your feet to live for the 3 days carrying that much weight and moving that much is probably the biggest physical challenge of the event. There's gonna be some nasty looking feet every year.
I'm about to say, from all the backpacking I used to do, the amount of people that would just like live their life in flip-flops or tennis shoes and then buy a new pair of shoes or a new pair of boots and go on this big hike and bloody, blistery, nasty feet. Like, you got to get your body used to it. You don't want your first time to be when you can't just say, oh, my feet hurt, I'm going to go home and drink a beer on the couch.
Sure. And the approach over the years has kind of changed some too. I feel like in the last few years, competitors have gotten into a lot more lightweight backpacks, lightweight sleeping gear, lightweight food type stuff. Certainly they're whittling some weight off some firearms. But Mark Kuchka, for example, his partner Bronson, they finished second a couple of years ago. And Mark wore like, I'll get this wrong, but like not CrossFit, like obstacle course, like running sneakers almost, and compression socks. He does a lot of obstacle course racing now. And, there's guys that are like in tactical boots or Solomon's or this or that. And Mark took like this kind of fitness approach to it. He was like the least tactical looking guy out there, but he covered ground fast because they were lightweight and they had kind of lightweight ground covering gear, really. So that's one of the fun parts for me as a competitor and still as the match director is on the Friday morning brief when everyone gets together for the first time with all their gear. And I remember doing this the first year, and every year after that, you kind of look around like, oh, there's that backpack I was thinking about using. Oh, that guy has that sleeping pad that we used last year that we're not using anymore. That guy's carrying that tripod, and that guy's got that tripod, and oh, look how much that guy's got. He's going to be hurting by the end of the day. But just like that Friday morning, snapshot of the entire field and how everyone has arrived to meet this challenge is different. Mm-hmm. Right. And over the year, everybody's loadouts change. Right. And the event changes as well. So
like, I have a question as hopefully I'm going to be ROing this year. If you realize you bought too much gear, can you tip the ROs in gear?
Can you what?
If you like decide you pack too much, can you just be like, here, RO, you're awesome. Have an extra tripod.
That is not supposed to happen.
Oh.
And any gear that gets abandoned on the course gets taken away.
And one poor soul left his dope card at my stage last year.
Oh Lord.
The first day, I'm like, oh, there's a nice armboard dope card.
Oh, somebody's gonna want that for the next 2 days.
Oh man, that is utterly unfortunate.
Yeah, but we've had I mean, we had teams, leave behind bags and 20 round magazines, and we had a rangefinder, laser rangefinder left behind on a stage 2 years ago, and all that stuff goes on a table for Sunday morning. You get it back after the event. But I do know, and maybe I did this in my past as well, I do know that like Monday morning at Fort Gordon, they do find some unusual things out in the woods. So
Probably some ammo dumped somewhere.
yeah, yeah. We know that goes on. We talked about the possibility of weighing everyone's packs before the event, and then weighing them again after the event. But you eat food, you drink water, you burn up ammo. On occasion, people lose things.
There were a few stages, like my stage, people were having trouble finding the targets. There were a few people that were like, I don't care. I'm just going to shoot at that berm so I can get rid of some ammo.
Yeah, yeah. As the weekend goes on, there's more of that. Yeah.
There's 175 grains. There's another 175 grains. There's another 175 grains.
Right. We publish a round count a month before the event, and I usually publish the number that it would take to hit every target on every scoring opportunity on that target for every stage, and say this is what it would take to shoot the match clean. But some of the stages are unlimited round count. You're probably not going to engage every target on every stage. So here's kind of my suggestion. And some people carry more and some people carry less. I've seen teams run out of ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen teams like limit their shots on Sunday morning stages so they could get to the end of the day.
So I was at Mammoth last year ROing, and so I know this, but I'm going to let you tell the story. Sky Wilson says,
Next question.
says, pump gently, I squirt. So
Yeah.
explain that, because it was absolutely hilarious.
I wish you might have a picture of that you can put up or something. But yeah, that was like some found humor last year at Mammoth with and one of the things, Fort Gordon has been our host for 3 years, going on 4 years. And leading up, with all the events of last year, we had a lot of people ask, is it going to be canceled? Are they going to have limited access on base? What happens to my registration fee if it's canceled? All that. But Fort Gordon did a really, really, really good job maintaining the event, just getting the event to happen last year. But, oh, here it comes. Look at that. Okay. So, we had a couple of kind of COVID protocol things that we had to adhere to for the event last year. And they had lots of hand sanitizer and stuff like that out along the stages. And so, yeah, this picture here, can everyone see that? Is that what that is? I saw that Friday morning before the morning brief. They had that kind of sitting out on the table by the stage. And I walked by it and I saw the sign and I kind of chuckled to myself. And I thought, oh, that's funny. I wonder if anyone else will notice that. That was
really the entire internet.
That was probably the most made post from the event last year, was those jugs all over the range facilities at Fort Gordon. Yeah.
They were everywhere. It was hilarious. And somebody was it Sky that took it off and put it on his pack? I don't remember.
I saw somebody rucking with that on their back, but I don't remember who it was.
The final ruck, someone had it on their rucksack.
Yes. And after the event, kind of like in the AAR with Fort Gordon staff, that was a subject of conversation. Who did that and how did that get there?
Well, we were like, well, did somebody just not think about it? And they were like, no, this is an Army base. Somebody was making the signs and was like,
yes. Now, and I wondered this after the event too, if we had put on that sign the target distances for stage 4, for example, do you think people would have noticed that as much as they noticed that sign?
Nope.
No,
but feel free to put target distances on.
There you go. Right.
I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Any more lives, Greg?
I'm still laughing. Hold on. Let me go back over here. Hugh said, specific to higher round count, can we find a place to ship them in? Some of us souls will be flying.
Yes. The Sportsman's Club at Fort Gordon, which is the public range on Fort Gordon, range 14, they have, they're an FFL there. And I believe you can ship directly to them on base, and it would be there for you to pick up when you arrived. So again, email me at matchdirector@mammothsniperchallenge.com with questions like that, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction.
Do you still need ROs?
We would always add ROs to the list. You were on the staff last year, so you kind of know the drill and how it goes. We require about 35 staff members, RO, spotter, and scorer on each of 8 stages, 8 squad leaders. We've been really, really fortunate to have really capable staff every year. Kind of like the entering the match, there's a lot of people that want to staff the match as well. I think we provide pretty nice accommodations and pretty good food and organize, match runs well. We do a prize table and some stuff for the staff afterwards. We have, as you know, like some staff members shooting this year. We have some competitors, past competitors on the staff. The staff is what makes the thing run so smoothly, right? Once we lay out the ruck routes and the schedule and design the stages and we pass that out to the staff is what, makes the match happen the way it does. The staff is who the competitors interact with on every ruck and on every stage. So we're super fortunate, super appreciative to have the staff that we have, and we would always like to add to it. Leading up to the event every year, somebody gets sick or someone has a job change or someone can't make it for some reason. And we've always had staff members to fill the slots. So again, you can message us or email me, and we'd love to add people to the staff. When we have new staff members, we always pair them with veteran staff members so that it's never like a group completely on their own. But yes, more staff is always better.
I went and staffed it last year, and I didn't know much about Mammoth before I went. I mean, I kind of knew. I knew they rucked and all that, but I didn't know the format and, what it was going to be. And it was, I was with an experienced RO. I was with Eric Lumberg, which is always fun. We had a good time, even if you took pictures of me when I fell asleep. But anyway.
It's also a good way if it's a match that you're thinking about doing, or if it's a match that you didn't get to register for this year, but you want to be a part of it and you want to learn, kind of like you learn about it because you're thinking about competing in the next year. It's a good way to see the format, see how the stages work, see how the rucks go, and I've had people sign up to be on the staff before for that reason. And some have gone on to become competitors, and some have said, yeah, now that I saw that, I don't really want to do that.
Man, we got some crazy comments over here.
Oh boy.
Alan said that Jennifer was the nicest RO last year.
Thank you, Alan. I was trying to look at all this. What did Mike say? My things just moved.
Can we get some help turning in vans this year?
Oh.
Can we get some help turning in vans this year? Who is that from?
That's from Mike Fahey.
Oh, nice. He can bring all the help he can bring.
I saw a few of the signs being sported during the rucks. Yep. Eric said he's been picking up your slack for 3 years, Scott. All right, that's all. That's about all the comments.
That's all
that I can find. So, what should first-time competitors be prepared for? Anything that we haven't already covered? I know we talked about shoes and rucking. Any twists or anything?
The biggest twist to be prepared for is that there are lots of twists. The biggest thing to be prepared for is it's probably unlike any match you've shot before. If this is your first time as a Mammoth competitor, We have some PRS type shooters that come every year, and the concept of finding targets on a clock and arranging them and picking out what order you want to engage them in to score points. That's a challenge in itself. Biggest thing first time competitors need to be prepared for is something they've never seen before, really. And that's why people, when they finish their first one, I'd say 90% or more people come back, because after you do it the first time, then you realize, oh, I didn't realize that's what I was signing up for. But now that I know, I want to do it again and do better, right? And get your pack later, get better shoes, get a better rangefinder, train better, work on communication with your partner, and that's why, you see competitors, it's not something that competitors win in their first year. The teams that place well and the teams that take home trophies and stuff have been doing it for a few years together. The teamwork element, the communication, supporting each other on the rucks, not leaving your teammate behind, or sharing your load between each other and who's going to carry what. The teamwork element is a big piece too. So lots to be prepared for.
I think that's what I enjoyed watching Mammoth. I had gone and watched one year, just the last ruck, them coming in, and then I RO'd, of course, this year. It was really neat to watch the teams, some that, maybe were physically stronger than the other, or maybe someone had an injury or kind of was having a harder time, didn't think enough, whatever it was. And you would see people cross the finish line, drop their pack, and immediately make a beeline back to their partner and like take some gear off of them or something to help get them across that line. And it was just really neat to see that part of it and that teamwork and, kind of camaraderie together. Like, hey, we survived this together. So
the crossing the finish line part, to me, I remember doing it as a competitor and the feeling that you have when you finish it. And then as a match director, watching the other competitors cross the finish line, whether it's the first team, like everyone's excited for the first team because they're the first team to cross the line. And then, like you said, there's always stories about people going back to help their teammate. And then even the last team to cross the finish line is a story of, just making it to the end. But yeah, that's a cool time in the match. Seeing everyone finish the last rook.
Alan says Greg and Sean won it there every year. You said nobody won it their first year. He said Greg and Sean won it there every year.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
So that was one of the things we were going to say is that, they've had so much success at Mammoth. They're good friends of mine, and they decided not to compete this year, which kind of makes it a whole new match. It's kind of like Simone Biles is no longer doing the
yeah, it's
kind of like taking Simone out.
Sean and Greg certainly good at excellent at it, right? One tough man this past year, one regular the year before that. They compete in lots of team matches together and win lots of team matches together, right? And kind of like I was saying earlier, as you do that with a partner and you hone your communication skills, your strategy skills, obviously they have good gear, obviously they're capable shooters, in good physical shape, all of that stuff. Yeah, those guys they've been like on a tear for the last few years, winning everything they do together. So they are two past competitors that will be on the staff this year, right? So that's a cool element to the match. They do some great training classes as well. You can find them online. They do some team match preparation classes that everybody can learn something from them, right? But with no returning winners this year, we have last year's tough man second and third place teams coming back, so they'll be contenders. The regular division first and second place teams are coming back. They should be contenders. Andy Slade won with a partner in 2019, and he'll be back with a different partner next year. There's some really good training facilities that are sending some teams to represent them. Proof Research will have a team. JP Enterprises will have a team. Vortex will have a team. Guys from Texas A&M Corps Cadets will be back again. I know there's guys with some military and government email addresses that I'm not supposed to talk about that will be there. So to me, when I look at the entry list, it's the most competitive field we've had, right? And I said that last year, and it was the most competitive we had last year. And I feel like in 2022, we have the deepest field of competitors and no returning winner. So yeah, the thing's wide open.
That's awesome. So I know 2 years ago we're able to get out there to spectate. Then last year I went to try and get there in COVID and it was a mess and I couldn't get on. Will people be able to get out there to spectate this year?
Yes, it has been open to spectators every year. Last year was a little bit limited with COVID, but the Sportsman's Club there at Fort Gordon at Range 14, they should have some information on their Facebook page and their website for spectator opportunities. Um, to get onto Fort Gordon, you have to pass the background check, so there's some paperwork involved just to get on base. If you can get on base, or if you have the ability to get on base already, you basically can go to the Sportsman's Club and they run a shuttle bus around to 6 or 8 of the stages and bring competitors around. You can't drive your own personal vehicle out on the range facilities at Fort Gordon. They limit traffic there, but the Sportsman's Club does do a kind of spectator access, and they have a couple of shuttle buses running for that. So,
Oh, that's awesome. So if you're totally civilian, never been on base before, is this something that we need to apply for beforehand, or if someone shows up on Saturday and says, "Hey, I'm here to watch Mammoth"?
uh, you can. The easiest way, the best way to do it is to apply beforehand. You contact the Sportsman's Club. There's a form 9243 that you have to fill out. It's basically a background check. It's a bit more thorough and complicated than a standard firearms purchase background check. But you fill out that form, usually takes a couple weeks to get through, and then you can come out to the Sportsman's Club and check it out. You can go to the visitor center at Fort Gordon the day of your visit and complete the paperwork and get a visitor's pass that way. But the visitor center is usually pretty busy. I mean, it just kind of depends on what the crowd is like when you get there. So certainly get in touch with the Sportsman's Club at Fort Gordon and get paperwork done ahead of time.
Yeah, I could vouch to that visitor center. Sometimes you get lucky and get through there in half an hour. Sometimes it's an hour, hour and a half, especially if someone decides to be sassy with the people working the visitor center.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you talked about Sean and Greg a little bit. So they do their class, their team dynamics class. I got to take that in April, I think it was, and it was a great class. I know they have another one coming up October 1st through 3rd at Pig River.
Yep.
And so check them out. That is a really great match. We can share that on the Shooter's Mindset, maybe Greg. So that it'll be there if anybody wants to see it. But it was really a good match, very worth the time. It was more than just, this is how you shoot. It was very much about the team dynamic and working in a team and doing some of the things that you're not used to doing if you don't do this type of competition. So it helped me a lot because I'm a PRS shooter. I'm not used to finding targets on the clock and ranging it. I'm used to like memorizing what I'm going to do before I go up there. So I was like, wait, I don't have anything. I just go up there.
Yeah. Well, you saw this, I'm sure, last year, and you'll learn quickly once the RO reads the stage brief and you have a few minutes to get ready for the stage, you think, you and your partner think you have a plan for what you're going to do when time starts. And one of the challenges to Mammoth is, you don't get to see the stage before you get there. And I think the stage briefs are thorough and they include all the required information. But a lot of times you crest a hill or around a corner or get to see the target array and realize, oh, we need a new plan, right? So you certainly have to have a plan, but then you certainly have to be flexible and kind of make decisions and strategize on the fly. Time management is important. I hadn't mentioned that, but a lot of teams run like their own timer, so on a 5 or 6 minute stage, they can manage their time because it seems to go much faster than 5 or 6 minutes when it's actually happening.
Yeah, I will say at that class they had us do some, 4-minute, 5-minute stages, and I was like, oh, we get 90 seconds in PRS, man. I get 5 whole minutes. This is gonna be great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know. I hear Sean going time, and I was like, what? But
Right.
it was very eye opening as to like you really do have to, keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will
Yeah.
ruin it.
And then as soon as the stage is over and you clear your rifle and everything and you get up, you think, oh, we should have done that, or we should have gone this way, or I should have stopped shooting sooner and let my partner start sooner, or there's so many things like as soon as the stage is over that you think, oh, I wish we could do that again.
It's yeah, it's very funny when you're on the clock and the things you don't think of. It's like Monday morning quarterback, and
Yeah.
everybody else can look and be like, I mean, why are they doing that? Why can they not? They're hitting the wrong target. But
Yeah.
when you're on it, you don't realize. There was one
I,
had to look for some targets, and there was one, I mean, right there, and totally didn't see it.
yeah. I don't want to say that we laugh at the competitors, right? Because when you've done it, right, you realize like what's going on and what's past. There you go. But I'll tell you one of like the eye-opening moments for me in my first year as match director. Chris Roberts was on the staff, right? And we had like our staff meeting Thursday night where everything went through all the stage briefs and everything like that. And we talked about this. And I had known Chris from when he was a RO at Mammoth all the years that I competed. And that was really all I knew about him, was he was on the Mammoth staff when I was a competitor. That first year, Thursday night eating dinner, he said something about, all the competitors and, you got to pay attention for safety issues and things like that. And he made some comment about how much he laughed at Scott and I when we were competitors. And I was like, oh man, you laughed at us? Like, I guess we probably did a lot of really funny stuff. And now that I'm, the match director and you watch all the competitors, there's a lot of funny stuff that goes on. I get it now.
Yeah. Greg, you got one?
Yeah, Kurt wants to know if a spectator wants to track with a specific squad or team, is that at all possible?
Not exactly that way, because not all of the stages are open to spectators. Just kind of for range safety and for logistics and for moving people around the range. Only about more than half, I'd say 3/4 of the stages are open to competitors, and they really have to ride around in that Fort Gordon shuttle to get there. We don't want any spectators, I guess, embedded with any squads, just because of the nature of the match, really. We have had some photographers and some videographers and some people for reasons like that travel with squads some, but the short answer is no. But again, email me if you have a more specific question.
You had people embedded, they might be feeding us.
It could happen.
Just saying. What other lives are there?
Alan wants to know, when is the documentary / TV show from this past year being released?
That's an excellent question, Alan. One of the things we learned this past year, because Mammoth has such a big following, we've wanted to do some sort of video production, get some coverage of it out. We've had some inquiries from the Outdoor Channel, for example, and some other networks about covering the event. And we had a film crew out last year to the event, filmed way more footage than we even expected them to. And one of our challenges this year has been to get that video production out. There's a opportunity to draw more interest in the event, to get exposure for sponsors. Be a cool thing to be in the video as a competitor. And I've seen a couple of drafts of some of the videos, and we're expecting to have them anytime soon. But I can tell you that has become a much bigger project than, it's kind of grown some legs, and it's gotten bigger than we expected. So it's coming, and then we're going to be working on plans for next year's production as well.
Awesome. I'm excited to see that.
I do not have a firm answer to that question, is the answer to the question. But it's looking pretty cool.
Hank Reardon wants to know, can we get the monsters again so half the teams cramp up and can't ruck?
So yeah, the first year we had Coca-Cola Monster Energy drink as a sponsor, and we provide water at all of the stages because water is important and hydration is important. It's the one thing that you do not have to carry. There's water available at every stage. And in the first year, they also provided some energy drinks and things like that. And there will be no energy drinks available on the stages this year. Sorry, Hank.
It's terrible.
That's funny.
Are we good on lives?
We are good on lives.
So let's talk meme pages.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of meme pages out there that
I've heard about them. Yeah, tell me more.
like to make memes out of entities in the shooting industry.
Sure. Sure.
Thank goodness I've only been memed once, and it was with a lot of other people, so it wasn't just at me. But so there was one recently that was put out that said that Mammoth basically said Mammoth is a walking competition. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it said, but
Sure.
so what's your response to that?
Well, I think that's all in good fun, right? I think in the shooting sports and really like in motorsports, the other area that I work in, there's lots of people making fun of other people on Facebook. That's like probably 3/4 of the Facebook traffic is people just picking on other people. The other quarter I've learned recently is people posting pictures of their puppies. But yeah, I mean, I saw that meme. The funny thing that struck me about that was actually reposted from a year ago. So,
I know.
Lack of current content I thought was funny, but as long as all that stuff's in good spirits, I'm okay with that. I see jabs made at PRS, and I see jabs made at 3-gun people, and people make jabs at Mammoth competitors, right?
It's all in good fun, in all honesty. I guess my point with this question was that last year when I RO'd, I saw a lot of people miss targets for it to just be a walking competition.
Yeah, right.
Those targets were not, I mean, there were some that were very doable, but there were some that were not easy by any means.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah,
Well,
there's the meme.
yes, the scoring is not based on your ruck time. The scoring is based on your shooting score.
Yep.
And I think last year when they made that post, I posted an open invitation to the American Rifle Series. If they wanted to enter a team, they're more than welcome.
It's funny. We've asked the American Rifle Series to come on our show as well, but they won't show their face. So there's that.
We've even offered specifically not showing face and mailing them a voice changing microphone.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
And they're still scared.
All right, American Rifle Series, we're waiting to hear from you.
Right. Come on, Shooter's Mindset, and come shoot Mammoth.
There you go.
Just saying, be funny.
Probably tomorrow we'll be all memed up. It'll be all over the Facebook, right?
Probably, but whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
I've gotten old enough that I really don't care what people think, so there's that.
There you go. Right.
It's good. I thought it was funny though. I mean, a lot of people say if you've been made into an ARS meme, you've made it. So it just means Mammoth has made it, right?
There you go. Yeah.
I'll say
I feel much better now.
Mike says it's a walking competition that sold out in 49 minutes.
I don't think the New York Marathon sells out that quickly.
You're right. I'm not sure it does. I was definitely shocked. We knew it was going to kind of sell out fast, but I didn't know it was going to be as fast as it was. I thought a couple of hours.
Well, the other thing, it has moved to the front burner as well. And Tim and I have talked about this for several years. It would be really cool to do a West Coast Mammoth or something on the other half of the country in different terrain at a different Army base. There are competitors out west that don't tend to come east for events. And And the first year we said, yeah, if this gets popular enough, maybe we'll do a second one. And then the second year we said, well, it's sold out, maybe we should do a second one. And after the 5.5 hour sellout last year, we started working on venues. The coronavirus pandemic thing kind of set that back a year, but we do have a handful of venues that we're talking to now about West Coast opportunities. And after the 49-minute sellout, we went, oh, we definitely need to be working on that a little bit harder. So it would be cool for, teams that have done well on the East Coast to go out West and compete out there. It would be cool to have an event out there on different terrain, different ranges, different facility, different Army base.
So we already have people in here asking for it out West.
Yeah. It comes up. I mean, it's a huge event to put together logistically, and the support staff and things like that. It's not like, go out and pound the targets in the ground on Wednesday and everyone shows up on Saturday and you're done on Sunday. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle to get the ruck routes to work out, the schedule and the stages and the scoring and the staff, sponsor, integration and things. I was at Fort Gordon Friday this past week, so it's July and I've been there. I'm going back Thursday of this week, right? So it's 6 months ahead of the event. We're working on planning stuff. That's would be difficult to do out West, but not impossible. And could be our next challenge, and it could be the competitors' next challenge as well.
That'd be fun. What's the ratio, just out of pure curiosity? Like, everybody that does this is not military. What's the ratio of military to civilian? Is it half and half, or is it 80-20?
I don't know the number exactly, right? Because it's not really required for registration. But I would say that it's about 50% active or military veteran and 50% civilian. It's kind of my shotgun view of it. And there's competitors. I found out last year that a competitor was in the military. I didn't even realize it was in the military. He was like, yeah, I can't talk about that very much, but that's what I do. Yeah. Every year we have 2 teams this year that registered without using their real names. Now I will see their real names when they submit their paperwork to Fort Gordon, but they're like, yeah, don't use our real names in the scoring. We're not allowed to do that. So
yeah, there's some of that in PRS too. And it's funny, I've learned asking people what they do, if they're like, I sell bicycles for a living.
Right. So there's certainly, and that's one of the things that I enjoyed about being a competitor, and I enjoy, running the event. There's so many interesting people involved in the sport. The competitive civilian shooters, the military shooters, and everything in between. We had 5 international teams registered last year, and none were able to make it because of travel restrictions, but we have at least 2 of them back, registered for 2022. I think the year before we've had teams from Ireland, we've had teams, Canadian teams, so some international flair as well.
What's the oldest and youngest that you've had compete?
I don't know the oldest. That's a good question. We had 2 father-son teams last year.
They were fun to watch.
They were fun to watch. They were fun to watch when things went well for them, and they were fun to watch when things didn't go well for them.
What was really funny is sometimes the father would be trying to tell the son what to do, and the son's like, I got this.
Well,
and that's, he did well, but it was funny. And then
that's like a really cool thing. I remember seeing him thinking, as a father-son thing, that was really cool to do. And we did have a husband and wife team 2 years ago. That did not appear to be as much fun as the father. I would
not think that would be fun.
As the father. What's that? Yeah, they did. Yeah. They did not complete all the rucks on time, but yeah, they did okay. And that's one of the things, I saw them yelling at each other, some last year, and Scott and I, you do that stuff too. You get, the time starts and you get in position and you have a plan, and now the plan changes, and like you're not necessarily yelling because you're angry. You're yelling because you want to convey your message.
Got ears on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how teams navigate that communication, is really interesting. Scott and I worked in racing together for years in addition to shooting together. So we worked together at work every day, at the racetrack every weekend, and we shot together. So our communication, I always felt, was really strong. It was probably our strongest suit, was our communication. And there's, I know there's teams every year that register for Mammoth with a new teammate. Like, oh yeah, the guy I usually shoot with can't make it, so I'm going to shoot it with this guy instead. And last year we had 2 competitors that had to drop for travel restrictions, but their partners still wanted to go. So we were able to partner 2 people together that never even met before Thursday of the event.
Wow.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. They didn't do terribly well, but I know they had a really good time. They were not going to miss it. They were like, we're registered, we've been training, we're going, even if I have to shoot with someone I've never met before. Unusual circumstances, but cool.
It's fun to see the different dynamics of the different different teams. I'm not sure a husband and wife would be very.
That would be a true test of any relationship.
Yeah.
That could definitely be interesting. So your other kind of fun thing is best targets. So what's new with it?
What's new with best targets? The newest thing with best targets is our website, primarily a web-based business, right? So we just redid the website this year, which is not my specialty or Scott's, right? So we have a couple people help us with that. And so that was a lot more difficult than we expected it to be when we set out, but fun business, supports our shooting hobby, has introduced us to a lot of really cool people, gotten us to a lot of shooting facilities that we've done target installations at. No surprise, all of the targets shot at the Mammoth Sniper Challenge come from best targets. We're pretty proud we've not had any target failures hold up the match for the last 3 years. Shoot a lot of best targets at Joe Burdick's matches, Guardian long range competitions. There's some best targets downrange at Fort Gordon now at range 14. So the web store is new. It's a growing business. It's kind of fun to watch that business grow as the shooting sports grow. And it's been interesting to track over the last 4 or 5 years. We are selling smaller and smaller targets, which just means people are getting better, really. There was a time where we sold like a lot of 12-inch gongs and full-size torsos or 75% torsos, and now people want like 6-inch gongs and 4-inch gongs. And do you have anything smaller?
So speaking of the shooting sports growing and small targets, I'm a huge 22 guy.
Oh yeah.
Little beauty back here.
Yeah.
And that's growing more rapidly than I think any part of the shooting sports right now.
Yeah.
Are you guys planning on getting into any of the super tiny little 22 targets at all?
We do probably 15 to 20 mild steel targets right now for 22s. And I think the smallest we get down to is like a 2-inch target.
2-inch, that's huge.
Well, and no, you're right. But you're right. The 22 thing is growing really, really fast. I finally shot a couple of 22 matches last year, and it was a ton of fun. We had somebody ask last year if we would ever do a rim fire Mammoth Sniper Challenge. But yeah, we do some mild steel targets. It's not kind of our core business, but it's certainly a growing area and probably something we should do more of.
I'm about to say I have at least 2 new shooters at my 22 match every month. I mean, sometimes I have whole groups of 5 people that have never shot before. They're like, yeah, let's buy guns and go do this.
Yeah. And just like every other discipline in the shooting sports, and just like every other recreational competitive sport, you can get into 22 shooting with a $300 rifle, and you can do it with a $1,000 rifle.
I'm about to say, this was my plan at a cheap rifle.
Uh-huh.
Until it worked as planned for the first month, and then it was like, ooh, and yeah, it's kind of spiraled downhill from there. But
And Mammoth is the same way. People will buy a rangefinder, laser rangefinder for Mammoth, and then you go and you see what everyone else is using. And the next year they might have, range-finding binoculars. And people will, show up with a tripod, and the next year they'll show up with a carbon tripod. And it's just kind of the nature of anything we do competitive as people, right? You want to have the best gear you can afford, and you want to work on your skills, and then you work on your skills, and then you can justify spending more money on gear.
Nice. Yeah, that's very, very true. So are you shooting any more matches this year, or have any other big plans?
Did Scott Whitehead tell you to ask me that question?
No.
I am going to shoot some more this year. I just don't have them on my schedule yet. Yeah, I've been really busy with work and with Best Targets and with Mammoth. And there's been a couple of matches come up that Scott's not been available for, and a couple that I've not been available for. Tracking a couple others. Would like to get out west and shoot some out there. But the short answer is no. Right now, I don't have anything on my schedule, but you asking me makes me realize I need to work on that more.
Me asking you makes me realize I need to work on that more also.
Yeah. It's there's like not enough time in the day, not enough days in the week anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough ammo on the shelf. But anyway.
Not enough. Yeah. Well, and that message Scott sent you about drying my brass, I've just recently taken up reloading, and fortunately, I have a really good friend that's really good at it and has all of the gear set up. So.
What were you about to say, Greg?
Nothing. I'm going to go over here and check live. So.
Oh, yeah, check the lives. I have a hair in my eyeball that I can't find.
Surprised we don't have more questions from Scott Peterson tonight.
He did say don't argue with the RO on the clock.
Yeah.
Don't argue with the RO on the clock. Don't argue with the RO after the clock. It's not.
But listen to your RO, because they can help you. Like the stage that we did, it was so funny. Eric told them up front, I cannot give you direction on the clock. If you don't hear me calling an impact and you know you're hitting, you need to check yourself.
Right.
And people would just be like hitting, and they're like, why is he not yelling impact? I don't know. Just keep doing it. And they keep doing the same thing. And Eric literally would just come out of the glass and do like this. Because at that point, what they were doing was not going to the point, even if they hit it. So he would just come out of the glass and be like, and just look at them. And they're like, why is he not calling it?
And you know what? That's one of the challenges of the match. And that's something I would say for first-time shooters, for 10th time shooters, right? The stage briefs include some important instructions that you have to follow. And they're not there like to be a trick. They're not there because we're trying to be mean, but you have to call out the target you're engaging, and the scorer must acknowledge that he knows what you're shooting at before you shoot, so that he can confirm you hit it or not. If he doesn't know what you're shooting at, we can't tally a score. And Whitehead and I have done it together. You shoot and you hit something and it doesn't say anything, and you do exactly what you just said. I don't know what we're doing wrong. Do it again. Right?
Yeah. Insanity, right?
Almost insanity.
Yeah, and on stages with limited round count, you're just wasting opportunities to score, especially if you're hitting the target that you haven't told the spotter that you're engaging. Right now, not only are you wasting rounds, but you're also actually hitting the one and not scoring points. So yeah, you have to follow, some specific instructions on each stage. And there was a year that Scott and I struggled with that. And we said, we just made it a really clear point. If we hit something and we don't score points, stop. Figure out what we're doing wrong. Right? It's part of the game.
Part of it. Greg, you got lives?
So we said Scott didn't ask questions. Scott asked some questions now.
Here we go.
And most importantly, Chris, do you plan on cleaning your rifle before you shoot it again?
I will clean my rifle before I shoot it again. Yes. Next question.
More pertinent to Mammoth, are magnums allowed, or did Fort Gordon shut those down again?
No magnum calibers.
No magnum calibers.
Basically, anything on a magnum bolt face is too big for some of the ranges at Fort Gordon. Right. So.
Also, them bullets is heavy.
People can carry them if they want to carry them, but you can't fire them.
So you can bring it, you just can't shoot it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Are you match directing any other matches this year?
Actually, yes. That's a great question. One of the things that we're doing this year, something new with G3 Dynamics, is the gunslinger matches. And some of you might remember, I remember shooting in the gunslinger match at Rock Castle in 2018. It's a pistol and gas gun match. And they're kind of the complete opposite of Mammoth. So the gunslinger matches are one-day events, 10 stages, pistol and gas gun. Farthest targets will be like 450 or 500 yards. A lot of them will be much closer. And the stages will be scored only on time.
Ooh.
So there'll be, for example, 4 pistol targets, 4 rifle targets. You might have to hit them in a certain order. You might have to hit them with a certain number of rounds, but the only score will be time, right? So you have to complete them all and your time. And instead of doing overall awards, prize table, and trophies and things for first, second, and third place, there'll be cash prizes for the fastest time of each of the 10 stages. So basically 10 cash prize winners, right? And if you register for the event and you get there and you're shooting and you don't want to shoot all the stages, you don't even have to shoot all the stages. You can shoot the same stage 3 or 4 times if you really enjoy it, or if you set the fast time and then someone bumps your time, you can go back and shoot again, try to beat them again. But because there's not an overall score over the match, there's just 10 cash prizes for the 10 fastest times. Yeah, you could camp out at 2 or 3 of them and go to town. You could set the fast time on all of them and then go back and circle around. If you only have enough ammo to shoot, 3/4 of the stages, or if you shoot some more than others. So kind of completely different than Mammoth. No rucking, no physical element, kind of like that. Handgun and gas gun, ring them as fast as you can, and fast time takes home the money. So we're doing that at 7 Foxtrot in just outside of San Antonio, Texas.
Oh.
That's in October. And pay attention, we're doing one at the Sawmill in November.
Shit. How far are the pistol targets going to be? That's what I really got to know.
How far would you like them to be?
Not no 125 yards on a third size IPSC.
No. The farthest pistol target we've done at Mammoth is 75 yards. And being that the gunslinger matches are scored on time, they'll be much closer than that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to come do this. This sounds real fun.
So yeah, that's kind of the format for the gunslinger matches. There'll be like a kind of live band entertainment, and dinner thing at the end, and then cash prizes. And it's a one-day show. So come out, shoot a bunch, shoot really fast, win some money, take home stuff, and that's that.
I'll see you at Sawmill.
See you at Sawmill. That one is November 20th.
November 20th.
So write that down. Yep. And all the information for the gunslinger match is coming through the G3 Dynamics Facebook page, the same G3 Dynamics website that you registered for Mammoth on. But yeah, that's now for something completely different. Try that. How fast can you go?
Sounds good.
This sounds fun.
When do we have to have our team names by?
Actually, a few other people have asked that, and we have never scored Mammoth by team names. There are some other matches that score by team names, and you're certainly allowed to make up your own name, but we do all of our scoring by team number and first and last name. I don't know if that's boring or not, but that's the way we've always done it.
Well, yeah, I can't think of a team name, so it's okay.
Well, if you can't think of a name, that's great. You've come to the right match.
It'd be the no names.
No, call yourself. I can't think of a name.
Yeah.
And when Scott and I register for a match, we need a name. We're like, best targets. How's that? How's that for creative?
Or let it be like, that's not my name. Yeah, I can't think. I'm not very creative, so.
How about the chicks?
The chicks.
The chicks.
Like I said, you can call yourself whatever you want. I'm just going to call you team number and your last name and your partner's last name.
That works. All right. I just want you to give me a good squad. I want nice people.
You know, as 5 years as a competitor, 5 or 6 years as a competitor, match director, they're all nice people.
I should say fun people. I think most people in the shooting world are nice, but
Yeah.
some are more like into themselves and quiet.
Yeah, and that's, again, like I mentioned earlier, the cross section of competitors at Mammoth, every squad will have like the really serious, like, pay attention, take good notes, maximize your score. We're here to win. Every squad will have like a couple of rookie teams. And you'll be able to pick those out. You can pick those out pretty quickly, right? Every squad will have a couple of military teams. Those groups are usually easy to pick out. And that, you step off on that first rook and you're all going together and, people you're going to spend 3 days with people in your squad. So you're going to get to know everyone. I've got friends that I've had now for 8-9 years that are people we met at our first Mammoth. It's just kind of the nature of the event.
It's good though. It's fun. Good times. Are there more lives, Gregory?
Mike said he liked Haley's idea, just saying.
Mike, Haley's husband, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you meant Mike Bell. I was like, how did Mike Bell know what her idea was? And I was like, oh, wait, Haley's husband is Mike. Yes. It was funny. We might do that. I don't know. If they don't use a team name, that doesn't matter, huh?
Nope.
You guys get like matching shirts or something?
Yeah, get matching shirts and put your team name on that. That everyone will be able to pick you out.
Can you just turn the heat on this year so it's not like 20 degrees the whole time?
I cannot turn the heat on. I know where the rain switch is. We've been able to flip that every year for the last 3 years, but they have not shown me where the heat. It's not terribly cold. I say that, right? This will be the year that it snows.
I froze last year ROing.
Yeah. And you didn't sleep outside last year, did you? No.
So, I'll have the heat on my stage. I'll have my little Mr. Buddy sitting right next to me, nice and warm, eating Slim Jims.
I'm going to have to bring some of them hand warmers and stuff them in my floor.
Are you going to bring a stove, Jetboil stove? You looking at that?
Jetboil, yeah.
Yeah. I remember the first year Scott and I did it, we got to the first stage and it was freezing cold and they read us the brief and we were standing around in the cold and these guys on the team in our squad busted out their Jetboil and like they made some coffee. And we were like, oh man, those guys are geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to have a Jetboil. I'm going to have some hot food to put in my mouth.
Yeah.
So you can pack some Russian tea or something to warm drinks.
I don't know. I might just drink hot water. I don't even care what it tastes like. I just want some heat.
Hot water is so gross.
It's not that bad. I just don't want to be cold. Any more lives?
Any more highs? No, but we talked about this last year and we didn't really get to it much this year either. But maybe in 6 months or so during the summer when we're all missing Mammoth, we'll do another show and we'll invite some more people on and we'll tell Mammoth stories.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be funny.
Not so much about the event or, how to prepare or the sponsors, things like that, but just good Mammoth stories.
We're not allowed any wheels, right?
What's that?
No wheels, right? No bicycles.
I can't show up with my bike.
You can bring a bicycle if you want. You just have to carry it for 11 miles a day for 3 days. Yeah. No, the definition of a ruck match is that your feet have to be on the ground and your gear has to be supported by you.
So, like, this sounds like the start of a good story for that that show. And he said there was ice on the tent last year. Like that kind of spiraled downhill. So I want to know if we can tell van stories.
We can tell what stories?
Van stories.
I don't know what you're talking about. That will be on the next episode.
All right.
Got all the.
That's all we got on the lives.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we can wind it down to shout outs then.
Well, I have a couple of shout outs. I know you guys have some too, but certainly Vortex Optics deserves a huge shout out. 4th year in a row as a title sponsor and provider of your hat.
That's it. You got the hat. There's a Vortex scope over there. There's some binos right there. I think there's another set of binos over there.
Really good with that finger pointing thing there on the screen. You've done this before.
There's Jen on a stick up there. Hunter's HD Gold. Awesome.
But yeah, the amount of support that Nick Waffenberg and the whole company there, Vortex, puts to the match is amazing. They send photographers, they send spotting scopes and binos and stuff like that for every stage. Their prize table support, everything they do is top notch, and they've been behind the event for years now. So I always feel like I wish we could do more to support them or shout out to them. So they're certainly number one on the list. Some stage sponsors we already have signed up 6 months before the event this year that will be sending teams. I mentioned Proof Research, JP Enterprises. Kestrel has supported the Zero Range every year, and they're on board already. Some prize table contributors, Kelbley's, Manners, Stocks, Warhorse Development, Grunt Style, Tim and everyone at Grunt Style, for what they do to drive the match forward. We'll have more sponsors as the year goes on, I'm sure, but that's the early list. And again, anyone interested in supporting the match from a sponsorship perspective can message us on Facebook or email me at matchdirector@mammothsniperchallenge.com. We have a lot of interesting or unique sponsorship opportunities. And as our video production grows too, there'll be some opportunities there. Thank you guys for having me on. How's that for a shout out?
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, we always have fun doing these. Vortex put a scope on the RO table last year, and I managed to squeak that by. Like, I just knew it was going to be gone. You were calling the numbers, and I was like, man, I'm never going to get that scope. And I was like, the second or third number you called, I was like, oh, I'm getting that scope.
There you go.
I didn't get the binos, though, which is what I really wanted, but I got the scope.
Well, there will probably be some of those binos on the prize table this year.
That will not help me while Mammoth is going on.
It'll help you in your second year.
This is true. If I survive the first.
You will.
We will see. Greg, what shout outs you got?
All right. Well, I have GSL suppressors, back to the finger thing, right there. Super awesome. On the 22, it's like super silent. Shooters and Sharpshooters of Augusta. Here in Augusta, Georgia, like 10 minutes from outside of Fort Gordon. So, if you're in town for Mammoth and before the Zero Range opens and you drop something, broke something, changed something, they got a nice 200-yard outdoor range, covered, comfortable, rainproof, all that good stuff. So make sure to check them out. PDC Custom, the most beautiful rifle chassis known to man. Shooters World Powder. Even through this whole pandemic, I've managed to stay stocked and super low SD, shoots good all the time. Hunter's HD Gold. Right there. I am blind as a bat, and I'm less blind while wearing those. Fix-It sticks. For those of you that don't know, like half of my job is buying tools, and the other half is like playing with robots and stuff like that. And these are really awesome tools, great for anything. I hate multi-tools in general, but like it's not really a multi-tool, but it's everything you need in a nice little pouch. And Vortex, Chris, if you need to borrow some Vortex stuff to clean your rifle, let me know. I got some real bougie stuff.
Gotcha. Cleaning the rifle is key.
Yes.
That is hilarious. So for all of us competitors, when can we expect any information? Is it like we don't hear much till the end, or when do we get our forms and all that?
The cadence is mid-August. So probably in the next few days, you'll get an email that will include all of this. So you'll get an email with kind of what to expect over the next few months. Mid-August, you'll get the forms that have to be filled out and mailed back to Fort Gordon. They actually have to be actual forms with actual signatures on them. And then September 1st, you'll get the email about final registration payment. And then on December 1st, you'll get rules of engagement, map of Fort Gordon and where to be when, final version of the rules, which really don't change much year to year. So you'll get about an email a month between now and December, and there'll be very clear deadlines on them.
That goes to both partners.
Yeah, they'll go to both partners. They'll go to the email address that you registered with. All right. And those forms, like, we send them out and we give everyone, I think, 4 or 6 weeks to get them back to Fort Gordon. Every year there are competitors that don't get their forms in on time. And I mean, 4 or 6 weeks to me is a lot of time to get something done and turned back in. Right. But we try to back that up every year just to give Fort Gordon enough opportunity to get all the forms processed. It's the home of the NSA, right? It's not like going to the shooting range down the street. It's kind of a big deal. So that's an email a month. Each will have something to do. Each will have a deadline, and then we'll see you in January.
Sounds good. So everybody just rock your little feet off until January.
We're looking forward to seeing your training for Mammoth posts.
I don't know if there's going to be posts.
The secret's out now.
I guess so, yeah. I've lost my mind, but it'll be fun.
Make sure you set your alarm early so you can wake up and see your fresh meme tomorrow.
Oh, Lord, I know. I've been memed.
Let me know when you guys want to do this again.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, and when you come to Augusta, like, hit me up. We can eat dinner.
All right. What are you doing Thursday?
Nothing. You want to go eat?
All right. I'll talk to you again soon.
That's right. All right. That'll be a wrap for episode 344. Until next time, we'll see y'all next week.